I can't believe I'm holding the key to shaking up Mondstaff's entire wine industry in my own two hands! I can just see it now. The more alcohol those drunkards consume, the more sober they'll become!
I wonder if it could also be used to turn water into wine?
Alternatively, a strength-enhancing potion could make it so that Pinewood could take down an Abyss Mage all on her own. How are we supposed to make a potion like that? The pain from walking on all that rough terrain. It's like it was never there. With this in my arsenal, I bet I could deliver 200 orders in a single day. Excuse me. Coming through. Coming through. Jerry, your shipment's here.
Need a bit of letting out around the middle.
No, just
ran into a bit of trouble. It's up to me to decide who I want to be, and to cut my own path. No one can tell me what to do. Let's go, Tomato! Delicate as silk. Next customer, Vespina's on the case!
Is Fiore here? I'd like to return my outfit. What kind of rags are you trying to sell us, huh?
Ugh, you didn't get bought out by my competitors, did you? the cat's tail. Ah, what a nice surprise.
Don't tell me you came to learn Genius Invocation TCG without bringing any cards! It is time to see what you are made of! With Sword comes Shadow! Go and play!
Welcome, travelers, to the Catskills Gathering 2024 Season 2 North American Finals. My name is Leah, aka Windflower Leah. I'm one of your casters today.
And this is Blep, Dean of Invocation Academy. So excited once again to be here for the NA Finals, but a little bit disappointed I couldn't be playing in them.
Me too. Okay, you made it to
Yeah.
knockouts. I didn't
did.
quite make it there. I think I went like 17-11, gave up.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I did make it to top 16. I mean, I'm sure we'll have time to talk about that later. But one of the players in the top 4 was actually the one that knocked me out. So I'm gonna have plenty to talk about when we get to their
Ooh.
games. But hopefully
Really
we'll see if they bring the
exciting.
same decks that they brought against me. But yeah, definitely bringing some new insights here because I've played against quite a lot of these players personally.
Me
quite a
too.
bit, but
Actually,
we'll get to
so
that.
I wanted to mention this, but I fought against Ting in a mirror matchup. So I'm wondering if he brought that deck, but that's later. That's gonna be the finals. For now,
yeah, we're getting ahead of
we should be
ourselves.
getting into the rules pretty soon here. But
Yeah, you can tell how excited we are to cast these finals. I mean, again, we not only usually we know the players pretty well because we've been following kind of the NA scene for quite a while, but this is one of the first times we've like really played a lot in the patch and got to play against like these same people. I mean, you know, they might have queued against some of you watching at home in the preliminaries as well. You might have faced them and witnessed firsthand why, you know, they had the skills to be here in the top 4.
I mean, it's 35 games, right? That's nothing to scoff at. Like, that's a lot
It
of
was a
games to
lot.
play in a week. It's like 5
was a
days.
struggle.
So, speaking of, you know, the preliminary phase, so just a brief introduction if you are new here, the Catskills Gathering is a Genius Invocation TCG competition organized by the Genshin Impact Tower community and authorized by Goivers. So basically, we have tournaments on the Asia, Europe, and America servers. This one is America Finals. In the preliminary rounds, players had to play up to 35 games to make their way onto the leaderboard. Basically, top 16 go on to knockout stage, which is single elimination bracket best of 3. And just recently, they updated it to be conquest format. So,
Right.
first place prize takes home 1,000 USD.
Yeah, and that conquest change was actually pretty relevant. You know, in the knockout game I played, my opponent did in fact bring the same deck that we had a mirror matchup in the first game, and they chose the same deck after losing that round 1. So really relevant here. You can really focus your energy on learning 1 or 2 decks rather than having to kind of blind pick with any 3.
And here is the Catskills point score system. This was introduced in Season 4, 2024. So basically, they have transformed the Catskills Gathering into basically like a circuit to lead into the Prince Cup tournaments. There will be more information about that shortly. Basically, these points here are going to go to Series Showdown participation. It's basically qualifiers for the Series Showdown, and then you participate in the Series Showdown, and that will guarantee your participation in the Prince Cup.
Yeah, and I think, you know, people have been trying to math out the points. There's only 2 seasons leading into the upcoming Prince Cup, and so really anyone in the top 4 here is already qualified into that Series Showdown.
Yeah, basically. So match 1, we're going to have a Charlotte, who's part of the Lab Clan, versus Shan. And then match 2, which is our grand finals, it will be Frederick versus Ting. So we have some players here who don't have... Actually, it's just one player. Frederick doesn't have any records, right?
Yeah,
In
so
past
they're a
tournaments.
newcomer. But I mean, they're new, but they made it into the final. So obviously a very accomplished player. And, you know, we're probably going to see more of that as kind of the cat's tail picks up in popularity. We're getting a lot of strong players coming into the preliminaries.
Oh, looks like Charlotte is bringing Mew. This was a very popular deck last season. I'm a bit curious to see how it's going to perform this season. I know if you take Joyous into it, it can kind of destroy it, but not everyone's bringing Joyous.
Yeah, so Mew wasn't it. So Charlotte was the one that knocked me out of the top 16. They beat me 2 games to 1. But Mew was not one of the decks they played, so I'm going to be really curious to see how they pilot it. We didn't see it do very well in the Asia Invitational 2 patches ago, but I think with the way the metagame's evolved, it's kind of funny. It's like shifted away to favor Mew again, because we're seeing a lot more combo decks, which Mew can match well into.
There are some other aggro decks that have emerged recently, though, or I guess re-emerged. But looks like Sean is playing a newish stall deck. This is Child Stall. We first saw it last season, I believe. Utilizes that Layla for freeze, and it's very similar to Ingguang Stall.
Yeah. The game plan is basically the same. The game plan is basically the same, but you get freeze, which is actually really important right now in this meta. Again, the combo decks are running rampant, and so having access to freeze to lock down a key character, it's all about that timing as well. Though, like Layla, you don't get to proc the freeze whenever you want to. You have to really plan out your skills. So it's a pretty skill testing deck. The matchup here definitely favors the Mona Eula Wanderer deck, though. It is a deck that is generally favored into these stall decks.
Yep, for sure. Aggro into stall. Well, I mean,
Shan does have Joyous, actually.
I actually don't know. I feel like Shan could definitely get a win here against Mew.
Yeah,
it's gonna depend on what Mew draws, right?
Yeah, if Mew gets lucky with the weapons, it's really hard for the stall deck to come back. But Shan, with that Joyous, is actually going to be pretty clutch. It's not actually a common pick for the Barbara deck because you already have the cleanse. You tend not to want to run Joyous, but this might actually turn out to be a pretty good pick here. Unfortunately, the only way to cleanse Hydro is to be on Layla. So we might see Shan kind of full ramp here at the beginning and then at some point go to Layla. We'll have to freeze his own team in order to cleanse, but might still be worth it in the long run to prevent that swell damage.
So here we go. We're getting into a game one. This is the third place match. So whoever wins this best of 3 will be crowned the third place winner. The last person will be 4th place. And then we'll move on to our final matches. But let's see.
Yeah, Charlotte's opening hand actually really good. You know, the one thing you want to look for in the Mona Eula Wanderer deck is, do you have 5 dice to ramp with? And he drew not only Wagner, but Paimon as well. So he's gonna, as long as he's gonna roll 3 Hydro dice, he's gonna be up to a really good start.
Yeah, Wagner is pretty good for Mew. I wonder... Ooh, keeping the Heavy Strike. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you already have all the pieces you need. So Heavy Strike is a really good card against Stall because they need to play around it. And sometimes they don't have the opportunity to. You can really surprise them by sniping a key character. If Child goes down, I think in this matchup, it's really going to be lights out for Shan.
I just wanted to mention something briefly, by the way. So Shan did place top 4 in the North American Prince Cup that happened last year. He lost to Robot Wizard, who made it 2nd place in this this tournament, season 2 of 2024 Cat Sales Gathering, and he actually beat him to get to the semifinals. So kind of a revenge match before we get to this 3rd place match. I just wanted to highlight that a bit.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Shan in kind of a stream match, but his last appearance was in the original North America Prince Cup. So we'll have to see. I mean, with this placement here, he is qualified into the Series Showdown, so he might have another shot at coming back into the Prince Cup.
Definitely very excited for the Series Showdown. Of course, we'll have some more information on that towards the end of the stream, so stay tuned for that as well.
Let's see. So Shan's opening up here. Gonna get a lot of ramp out at the beginning, so should be a pretty good opening here from both
Veterans
sides.
Research going on Layla and Rana, and then Layla's elemental skill will generate that 1 Hydro dice because, of course, the next character in line is Hydro, so that is a lot of ramp.
Yeah, that's a pretty good opening. Shan going first is actually really important here because he's going to have an opportunity to end before Charlotte does, because Charlotte is going to need to skill on Mona, and that's actually going to be a really strong opening.
Yeah, Charlotte responding with a bit of ramp, I guess you could call it, with themselves playing Dunyarzad, then Wagner and drawing the 1,000 Floating Dreams weapon. I feel like that's the best one. Pretty good. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's a pretty good draw.
That's
Wagner
probably the
weapon
best
banner.
Right, it's the bagged weapon. He won the 33% there because 1,000 Floating Dreams is the best weapon, especially against Stall. You know, I think Charlotte definitely playing that Wagner out early to see what weapon he draws, because based on that, he might change his plans.
Oh, wait, Charlotte actually drew Timaeus too from the Dunyarzad. That could be huge if he plays it and gets instructors, right?
We're probably going to see a Paimon. Yeah, it's more important to get the dice now because you already have the weapon. I think it's too risky to go for a gamble on instructors. You'd rather have the guaranteed dice from Paimon. But yeah, it's going to have to tune 1 in order to play Paimon and Mona's skill here. But Shan ending first here is going to be really critical because he's going to be able to swap off of Layla next round.
Yeah, Shan ending on 3 dice, but of course 2 of them will go to Ivana Rana. Layla eating up that Hydro application from Mona's summon, pretty, managing that pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, this is about as good of a start you can hope for from the stall deck, and this is going to give Shan the best opportunity to beat that 1,000 Floating Dreams draw. Again, both sides, like, if Shan had lost this coin toss, I think he would almost certainly have, like, almost immediately lost the game, and it's how close this matchup can be. But by going first, and we're going to see if he opts for it now, he is going to be able to swap off of Layla and deny the initial Wanderer swell, which is really critical.
But to my understanding, on Charlotte's side, it's definitely going to be coming down now, right? I'm wondering if he's going to be able to draw that Instructors.
I mean, Instructors here isn't going to be great because almost certainly Shan is going to deny not only one swell, and if I know a lot of people, players at home, probably are very frustrated playing against Mona Yule Wanderer. If you want to kind of watch how to counteract the deck, like, this is the way. If you start first, ramp early, and then just swap off of the
Delve
character with
into
Hydro,
destiny.
you kind of force your opponent to make this play, which kind of slows them down quite a bit.
Yeah, because normally your goal is to swap off Mona and start swirling with Wanderer, right? But
Yep.
we do see Charlotte going for that Hydro application with Mona's skill.
Yeah, here we go.
And there we go, swap on to Child.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that before the swap, Shan didn't equip. I see that Tenacity in Shan's hand. Usually, I would have expected, Child is usually the character to wear Tenacity. You want to get those shields up on him as early as possible, and then you would have gotten Dice. But he looks like he's going aggro.
I wonder if it's because Shan has
Tidal
bias.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, this is
Yeah,
definitely
quick-
going to threaten Wanderer a lot more.
Definitely, yeah. King Squire equipped onto Child, that is +1 damage, and also discounted Child skill by 2. So, has 5 dice. No, 4 dice left.
Yeah, and this is such an unusual opening. Having Mona, this is why that starting first against you is so strong, and why the deck kind of has very lopsided matchups. You either crush your opponent completely, or you get into these really awkward spots where he's been forced to stay on Mona 3 times. And in fact, I honestly think staying the third point of energy is actually a mistake. A lot of the time, when you're forced into this situation, it's better just to go onto Wanderer and use his skill, because then you can always hit one of the side characters with a follow-up here. But maybe Shan was anticipating that, and that's why he went for the more aggressive play with King Squire, and maybe Charlotte's playing around that as well a little bit.
What do you want from me?
We see
The wind
the
rises.
1,000 Floating Dreams equipped onto Wanderer for free, using up those Wagner stacks, and there is this elemental skill. That swirl does a whole lot of damage.
A whole lot of damage, but Shan is going to be able to counterattack pretty well on Child here.
Yep, going for a skill in response, and that Layla's skill is also ticking up at 3 stacks now.
There's a chance we just see them stay on Child here and just build up to the burst. There's a good chance of that, actually. I mean, if you're going to equip King Squire, I think that's the most sensible line. Although if he uses skill again, he's going to lose the freeze. So ending, I think, is more important. So we'll probably see a swap off of Child here. Probably to Barbara.
Yeah, I'm looking at that summon on Charlotte's side, right? Oh, so that was Tenacity equip on Child.
Tenacity
Wow,
equip, yeah.
I see. That 1 dice is gonna go to Vanarana. No dice
Yeah.
wasted.
I mean, that's pretty important. I think you wouldn't make that play unless you could save the extra dice. It's going to come in really key next round. So I kind of like this play from Shan here. Normally if you play defensively, I think the Child deck is not favored because your opponent just gets so much value with 1,000 Floating Dreams. We're kind of flipping the deck and being more aggressive on Child. You can kind of avoid, the 100, like the complete doom situation of a losing matchup. So we'll have to see if it works out though. This could get punished pretty hard if Charlotte can find a way to snipe Chilled from underneath that Tenacity. But because of how slow he started.
Oh, but look at Sean's dice. Look at all that pyro. That's the wrong element.
Yeah, I mean, he has Maya Senrana, so he can convert some of those dice into Hydro a little bit efficiently. And Child still has his normal attacks up, and that's really all. You only need 1 Hydro. But yeah, it is going to be really tricky.
Ooh, there is that
That's a pretty good draw.
Instructors. That is a very good draw, and of course that Instructors is immediately going to go on to Wander for free. That Swirl is going to generate 1 Animo dice for him, and
Yep. But this is where Layla's... It's got a lot of damage, but this is where Layla's going to really shine. I think Shan, again, planned very carefully getting Layla up to the the stars at 3 stacks. Obviously, on the 4th stack of a skill, it will freeze. So we're gonna see Wanderer get frozen here.
Frozen at 1 health, and of course has that Riptide applied to him. It could be pretty scary. He's gonna have to play around that.
Yeah, I've definitely died to a Riptide more than once. It's something you forget about, but Eula would be the one to watch. You know, if Eula gets hit with that Riptide, you will have an extra damage spillover, so it could take out Wanderer off field.
Shan has Child's Burst up, and this is the ideal situation to be in if you're Shan, right? So what do you do here? You've full energy. Do you really want to eat through that Lotus, or do you swap off?
I mean, I think you just have to swap off. You'll probably... Honestly, you really want to be saving that Child Burst for Eula, if you can help it. Using on Mona isn't really going to do a lot. You're basically going to lose all of your pressure by trying to take out Mona here. The Lotus still makes sense from Charlotte, though. You know, you don't want to lose Mona if you can help it, but if you can force your opponent to spend more resources to take out Mona, then you can really set up Eula for the win here.
So then my question is, who do you swap to if you're Shan? Do you go Layla, or do you Lotus Barbara? Or Lotus Hash?
It's probably Layla, because I think what you want to do is skill on Layla, especially because you have those 2 cryo die already. It's probably the best way to make use of your die. If you skill on Layla, if you use her skill while her status is still up, it grants 3 stacks, which means next round you can set up for a freeze right away, and that's going to be pretty important, because I think Shan is going to be looking to freeze Eula, and if he can make that happen, then he will be able to basically weather all the damage from Mew and then heal back up to take over the game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. We do see the Lotus coming down onto Layla and a slow swap. So, I mean, Charlotte has that Lotus Crisp on Mona right now, but also a quick swap with Mona's passive. He could go to Eula and freeze Layla, not letting Shan get that skill. Do you think he does that, or do you think he goes for the burst here?
Decided by destiny.
I guess we got that question answered. I was really thinking about those 2 lines either. They're pretty close. I think the burst is nice because it guarantees you can take out Child. Well, hang on. Child's gonna be at 6 once the shields refresh, and Eula's skill with the freeze actually will be enough. So this play does put Child in lethal range of Eula, so now Shan can't actually safely swap back onto Child next round.
Whoa.
Oh, although the shields here will...
That was Tamias being tuned. So does that mean we're going to see Layla's skill?
Yeah, we're almost certainly going to see the skill here. And actually those 2 shields will protect Child from that Stellaris. Eula, of course, doesn't have her grid part up yet, so her skill only does 2 damage right now.
Life and Pass. The classic.
Life and Pass. But Shan's managed to set up quite a good defense here, and that Lieben isn't going to trigger next turn because Charlotte only has 2 dice. So Charlotte's really going to need to look for a way to extend the game into another round, but each round that passes, it's going to favor Shan more and more.
I think if you're Shan, you just go for Rana Pass, right? Ooh, I think we might see Barbara's skill, actually.
No, you don't want to use up the freeze this round. Oh, maybe it is. Okay.
Well, why else? Why else would you swap to Barbara?
Well, you might want to swap to Barbara because she has the Hydro, so she can actually threaten the freeze early next round. So I'm actually a little bit surprised at this. I don't love this because Barbara's going to apply Hydro to herself.
Yeah.
Actually, I really don't like that play. I think that might have been a misplay because you lose 2 things. Not only do you apply Hydro to Barbara, but you also lose out on that freeze that could potentially lock down Eula. Like, I really like the swap to Barbara because that means Charlotte can't safely swap to Eula next round without being frozen immediately by a Barbara skill. But skilling at the end of that turn I don't think it's going to have a good effect on the game.
I wonder if Shan is just trying to preserve HP a bit because Barbara's summon does heal all of your characters, not just the active character, right? But it does apply that Hydro onto Barbara, so everyone on Shan's team is vulnerable to that freeze, and Charlotte does have that quick swap from Mona.
Yeah, I mean, maybe being frozen isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is pretty dangerous with, like, Eula can often take out Barbara, although you probably don't want to do that.
Fine. Let's get this over with.
Very interesting. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, Mona's burst just double that damage on Wander's normal. Goodbye, Layla.
I think that's the biggest Wanderer hit we've seen on stream.
I think so, but it's not often you get off Mona's burst, right? Fully equipped Wanderer, normal attack with Wind Favor.
Oh, this is a really good position that Charlotte's put himself in now, because basically Shan is forced to take out Wander here, which will let Charlotte swap to Eula for free and start freezing the other side. You know, Shan can't safely swap, or else Child is going to go down per Wander Burst.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
gonna
he's
take up
forced
a
to
lot of
attack.
dice. You have to go for a normal here. That's gonna. Oh. Wait, is this
I'll protect us.
an elemental skill? It is.
Skill. Okay.
the abyss.
That makes
One
sense.
point of
Liven-
damage is all you need, but
Yeah, one damage all you need. You know, I think Shan's definitely playing for the long game. It's more important to refresh that skill in case it comes up than save that Liben, which isn't really going to do anything. But he is running low on Hydro. Like, he has no more Hydro Die remaining.
Ready for
So this is
reconnaissance.
looking a little bit risky. I'm actually surprised he
Here's
didn't pick.
Eula.
Beg for mercy.
Charlotte goes to Eula. It has to tune Liven for elemental skill, and of course, after Eula uses her elemental skill, she does have that Grim Heart. So the next time she uses that skill, it's going to do, I think, 2 additional damage.
I think they buffed it to 3. It used to only do +2, but now it's 3, so it's 5
Oh.
total in one hit. But we might see Shan egg here. I think he has an egg in his hand, right? Like that's what I see at the top right most card. 2 cost. That's got to be egg.
I think we might see Egg Tenacity the Millilith, right?
Yeah. I mean, Tenacity, if you do that, you have to tune to play egg, which might not be worth it. So I don't think we're going to see Tenacity played at this point. It's possible to put it on Barbara, but if you're going to put on Barbara, you would have done it before taking the hit from Eula.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah. But I think we're going to see egg swap, because basically the way you want to play around Eula's skill... Okay,
Wait.
so now it's going to be Tenacity.
Wait, now it's Wait. Okay, mushroom pizza. 2 mushroom pizzas. That's a lot of mushroom pizza.
That's...
That is
Oh,
one
interesting.
way to use your dice.
Okay, I guess his banking... That's, again, really risky, because if Charlotte was able to play one of the Gilded in his hand, he would have been able to generate additional dice to take out Barbara and really punish that play. But luckily for Shan, I feel like Shan's making a few misplays, but he's getting lucky because Charlotte doesn't actually have a great hand to make use of those Gilded Dreams. You know, hasn't got Timaeus up to 3 stacks yet, but once he does, it's gonna be really hard for Shan to recover.
I mean, Charlotte just drew Wolf's Gravestone.
Yeah,
which
that's pretty
could be
huge.
very, very deadly for Shan.
Actually, yeah, drawing that Wolf's Gravestone might actually be enough to end this game here. Shan is going to get to go first, but without a way to take out Eula. Let's see, he's going to... Oh, here we go,
There's
the egg. Okay, so this is the
Unfortunately, Shan is 1 energy point off Barbara Burst.
Yep.
This is
I mean, there's the
exactly
energy.
what yeah, I mean, there's the energy, but Charlotte is just gonna
Yeah.
freeze Barbara.
Yeah, we're almost going to certainly see the freeze here from the skill. You're kind of forcing that play anyway, but yeah, getting that Wolf's Gravestone equipped for freeze would be pretty crucial here. Oh man, if Charlotte was... Okay, so he's still going to still play the Gilded. If Charlotte had any way to discount those Gilded, this game would be over this round.
Does Eula's skill kill here with Wolf's Gravestone?
I believe it does. It should do 8
Beg for mercy.
with the shield.
7
I feel a little...
plus shield points. Yeah, it's a very heavy hit.
Yeah. No gamblers though, fortunately, on Charlotte's side.
But Shan's gonna be able to skill here and freeze Eula.
The
Yeah,
night
I think that was the plan all along. You know, sacrificing Barbara just to apply that Hydro, and threaten the freeze here. But the problem is, with Child having that Hydro aura, it's going to be really
It
difficult
is as the stars
for
foretold.
him to win a 1v1 situation against Child later.
Heavy
Ooh.
strike of Mona.
Wow.
No way.
Sorry, Professor.
I mean, this is the right play, right? Your opponent has been forced to use up their egg, so you know they only run 1 probably, and they can't revive any more characters. So this is basically a checkmate situation. If Child takes out Mona, Eula will freeze, and if Shan doesn't take out Mona, Eula will freeze anyway. So this is a really well played game by Charlotte.
And I believe Shan brought Joyous here, does not have Fresh Wind or anything like that. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's it, because Eula can just freeze next round.
Yep. Yep.
No way around the Eula freeze.
That is a checkmate, yeah. I mean, it's freeze is very powerful right now. And you see both sides here able to utilize it, but obviously Charlotte's deck much more set up to be aggressive with that freeze. But that heavy strike play was actually very important. You know, without it, Shan would have been able to stall a little bit longer on Layla and maybe come back. But I think Charlotte did a good job identifying that as the right play. I'm not surprised though. So quick story time while we watch this game end. So Charlotte did beat me with the Layla Child Barbara deck in our game 3. So he knows very well how to play this deck. Not only that, it's very embarrassing to say, but he came back from solo Barbara against me. I got him down to just Barbara, and he managed to find a way to beat me. I'm really...
Wait, how? How?
He revived Layla, and then healed a bunch, and then bursted, and then just used Layla and Barbara to finish me off. Because they had a lot more dice with like Tenshikaku and other cards than I could keep up with. And so, yeah, it was a crazy match. Embarrassing for me, but very well played by Charlotte.
What deck were you playing into this?
I was playing Seahorse, the Seahorse deck. Yeah.
Ugh.
I had even taken out their child early, so I thought I had won. And then I took out Layla, but I got a little bit ahead of myself and got a little sloppy with my plays, and they were able to come back. So, yeah.
Here we go. Shan using Child's
Ready
Element
for
to kill
reconnaissance.
Mona.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Mona with a quick swap passive is going to enable Eula to land that freeze. I think this is going to be
Freeze to the core.
That's going to be it. We might see a big Eula finish as well. So, Charlotte has so much dice as well. He gets a free equip on that Gilded thanks to Timaeus.
I mean, Shan does have that Hydra Res. It's all you
It's
can
not
do
gonna
realistically, but
No.
it's not going to matter. That Eula Summon is going to take up with every normal attack or skill that Charlotte does, and that ending damage is going to be massive, so...
Yeah, I mean, we might not even get to it. I think just if Shan passes, we're probably going to see a Eula skill into a Shatter off of Wolf Gravestone, and that's going to be enough. I would love to see a Shatter, but okay. If Charlotte ends with Eula Burst, we'll give him style points, and if he doesn't, it's negative style points, because you have to, right?
I want to see the Eula first end.
Like, you could end now.
That's 5 damage right now plus Shatter.
Okay, but he's gonna go for the lot. Oh, he's gonna go for the. Oh no, this is not the way.
Shatter.
This is not the way. Oh wait,
Wait!
it's still fine. Okay.
7 damage plus Shatter for 9.
Bam.
Goodbye.
I was right, child. Wow.
That was a very brutal way to end that game, but congratulations to Charlotte for taking the first game and this first best of 3. Of course, this is the 3rd place best of 3, so whoever wins this set will be 3rd place in the Cattails Gathering Season 2 2024 American Finals. So.
Yeah, very well played by Shan there. Again, it is a bit of a matchup difference there, definitely in Charlotte's favor. I know Shan's very good at playing that deck as well, because I did face him once in the preliminaries, and he beat me on that deck, also against Seahorse as well. I guess I keep losing that matchup, but very established pilot. I still wonder about that Barbara skill, if that would have mattered. You know, definitely be interesting to go back and see if there was an alternate line of play there, but that might have been the tipping point, because he looked like he was in a pretty decent position. But Charlotte, again, is a very consistent player. That's one of the things that I noticed playing against him, is he makes very few mistakes. And so anytime you slip up against him, he's able to capitalize on those very easily, kind of take the game away and never let you have the advantage again.
I feel like I remember pointing this out at the time too. So Shan had a second Rana in hand and 2 Pyro dice, and those 2 Hydro could have went through Vana. I was wondering maybe Rana pass would have been a better play, because then you have that additional ramp going into the upcoming turns. And when you're playing a stall deck, you really want to be stalling out the game and building up those resources, right? So
yeah,
but yeah, it's hard to say without watching it again.
Yeah, there was a crucial window there where, you know, we saw Charlotte had to play Liban to eat up 2 dice but not trigger it. That round where he didn't have any extra dice was the key turning point, and if Shan had made a way to come back, that would have been the turn.
Here we go, though. We're getting into game 2, and I am very familiar with this deck after watching you play it so many times. This is Hyper Magic, so it's called Hyper Magic because it has the Jet Engine and also the Gilded Dreams. So basically, you could super high roll with it and win in round 2. I've seen it win in round 2.
Yeah, it's not super consistent, and winning round 2 really depends on the list. By the looking at this list, it is set up to do a round 2 in some cases, although with that Leoy resonance, it might be more setting up for round 3. But this was the deck. So my first game against Charlotte, we had a mirror matchup in this deck, and I went first, so I won that one. It's a very weird matchup to play in the mirror, but it's a very strong deck right now. Obviously, Jet and Gilded Dreams, super popular. It's everywhere. If you've been on YouTube, like everyone's making videos of this deck.
Here we go, Sean bringing Yulan OTK. So this is, you know, very, very classic meta deck ever since Thunder Manifestation was released. Of course, the nerf of TM Talent, we don't see it here, but it doesn't matter. There are other means for that card draw, right? So this deck still functions very well. But it's not hyper magic, it's just magic.
It's not hyper. Yeah, but honestly, it's a little bit more stable because again, you'll notice in the Razor list, it doesn't run any food. That's one of the really weird things about that deck. It runs no food because it needs to power out consistently Jet and Gilded Dreams. So it sacrifices that defensiveness, uses freeze to make up for it. But this is actually a very bad matchup for the Razor deck. I played this quite a few times. Because your opponent has quick swap and freeze and you don't, it's very hard to win if they ever get the upper hand.
Yeah, I mean, both of these decks have that freeze, but Sean has way more support cards to his advantage. And that's it's like what you were saying, like in Hyper Magic, your goal is to draw your entire deck so you can play both the Magic and the Jet. Sean having double Yayoi Speed Defense Dream starting hand.
I had only...
but I don't know if you want to really be keeping all of that without any artifacts. We're probably going to see him put away a lot of those cards.
Probably away all of them. Interesting.
Yeah. That makes sense. You really want to dig.
Rings is going to be good.
Flowing Rings is going to be good. Unfortunately, didn't draw any food
guide you.
To discount the to get 3 skills on Yulan. But honestly, you don't need to do that in this matchup. You can really go slow. There's no way for Charlotte to pressure your Yilan at all. Charlotte's going to be only concerned with getting Shinshu burst up, and that's going to give you way more than enough time to get to Yilan burst in round 2 without an issue.
Can't quite see Charlotte's hands. I do see 0-cost artifact. I think that's also Flowing Rings.
Yeah.
There is a Sealy and Strategize.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you need to... So, having played this deck, I know Charlotte has, like, the perfect opener. You have ways to spend those 2 extra dice after skilling twice on Shinshu. Your hand is full of card draw, which is exactly what you want. So this is about as good of an opening as you can hope for, but it's really going to come down to, again, freeze, right? Like, we saw it in the last matchup as well, where playing around that freeze was so critical, and it's even more important in this matchup because you're both trying to combo, but whoever can freeze the opponent's piece first is going to be the one that is going to win.
Charlotte opting for skill on Shinshu instead of normal, using up all of his Hydro Dice. Do you think that was the right play? Is he gonna have to tune or swap on the Chongyun? See, I was wondering this was gonna happen. I know you were saying that there's no way to threaten Yulan. And I agree that you want to rush Shinshu burst, but you can't threaten Yulan if you freeze.
I mean, it's still not quite enough of a threat. Like, you threaten in the sense that you'll delay the burst, but it's almost impossible to stop. But very interesting here.
So I'm actually wondering if Charlotte's gonna play that Liben pass and freeze next turn.
I mean, I think that's definitely the play here. If you're gonna make this play, especially with those dice, that makes the most sense. Yeah.
Sean using a whole lot of magic to get that last normal attack off. Yulan's burst is ready to go, but yep, there's that Liben pass from Charlotte.
Yeah, it's going to be important to see if Charlotte can find a window to get Shinshu's burst up. Luckily for him, though, that Lightning Rod is going to move next round.
Yeah, that would be brutal if it didn't. Shinshu is definitely under threat right now because Thunder Manifestation skill is going to go on to whatever character has that Lightning Rod, right? Right now it's Shinshu.
Yeah, if it was Shinshu right now, he would go down, although I think because of his rain swords, it would protect him anyway. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Yilan's burst is delayed, but I think Shan's gonna be able to get it out at some point, you know, whether that be drawing a quick swap or just waiting until his opponent runs out of dice and then going to Yilan in round 3 is also fine. As long as Shan can freeze the other characters without killing them and letting them swap off for free, he's gonna be in a fine spot.
Charlotte using that Strategize really doesn't have the best dice here. Dinuzad and Cheng the Ninth coming out. There's another Dinuzad he can play for free if he wants, but...
Yeah. I mean, you might as well, although your support space is getting a little bit limited, so yeah, maybe staying around is fine.
Opting to not put on one of the zero-cost artifacts.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
interesting.
Cavarena probably isn't going to do anything because I think it needs to be the active character as well when they take damage. So we're probably going to see Charlotte swap off onto Xingqiu. And he can safely do that because of the Lightning Rod is now on Chongyun.
Definitely. Ooh.
Oh, yep. This makes sense.
The Heart of Cavarena going on to Signora and then a swap to Signora. This.
Yeah. This is to threaten Xingqiu. You know,
Yes.
obviously if Charlotte makes a swap here.
I'll watch your back. Very interesting lines being taken because, like, each opponent is like playing around each other. We're seeing these very, very unusual lines right now.
Yeah, this is not typically. So typically the Charlotte's deck, what it wants to do is skill twice on Xingqiu, burst, go to Chongyun and set up Frostfield, and then either Chongyun or Razor will finish. But obviously, if you just play those standard lines, if your opponent ever freezes one of your characters, the interesting thing, you know, Charlotte's deck doesn't run, not only does it not run any food, generally it doesn't run any quick swaps as well. So if your character gets frozen with Signora Yilan combo, you're kind of doomed. There's no way to really recover from that because they can keep freezing you no matter what.
Sean having to tune 2 cards to go for that Signora skill, and of course Charlotte is kind of forced to stay on Razor here, right? Huh. Ooh, there's
Yeah.
Jet.
There is Jet. Charlotte hasn't drawn a Yayoi there yet, interestingly enough, but we're probably going to see Dunyazad go down, maybe another card not to overdraw, but I think he's fine if he plays one more.
I'm looking at that 4 Princess. It's probably not time to play it yet.
No, you want to save it
but-
for one turn. Next round's going to be very crucial, because Shan... I mean, if Shan ever draws a quick swap, I think this match might just be done. Because he can just quick swap onto Yilan, get that burst up, and then if Yilan doesn't go down, he can just threaten freezes with Signora permanently. And that's going to lock Charlotte out for most of the game. Especially because Yilan's burst, since it's delayed, isn't going to run out at the end of round 3, but is going to extend into round 4 as well.
Shauna had to tune so many cards earlier to use Signora's skill. Didn't want to do that again for Thunder Manifestation skill, and instead went for the Superconduct reaction.
Yeah. Ooh, there's the quick swap.
Yeah, there is the quick swap. Sean has it in hand.
Mm-hmm. And that's really crucial here because, you know, again, both sides are playing around freeze, although normally on Charlotte's side, you have the rain swords up so you can freeze with any other normal attack. But right now, because Xingqiu's burst is so delayed, he doesn't have that rain sword and so is not able to freeze on demand, which could matter a lot going into the next round.
Here we go, though. So Charlotte playing that Boar Princess every time an equipment is replaced or lost. You look at 2 Omni. Jet is coming down. Opting not. Wait, so he played Junior Side last run, right? So we replaced Junior Side with Jet. Okay.
Yeah, because it was a free. Basically, got to play Jet for free and then draw into another card. Yayoi there is very big. You know, he has those 2 Gilded Dreams in hand. And so by now he's going to be able to play that Yayoi and then equip a Gilded Dreams for free with a lot of dice. But we'll have to see what... If Charlotte chooses to stay on Razor here, it's going to be really dangerous because he is going to get frozen. And he's not going to be able to trigger his Jet this round, I believe.
There's a lot... Okay, so Charlotte's Chang is at 2 stacks and Seely's at 2 stacks. That's a lot of cards.
It's a lot of cards. Yeah, if he skills, he'll draw 3 and then 2 more. So he's going to be very careful with his hand. He's probably going to equip Gilded onto either Chongyun or Xingqiu here, just to get rid of more cards in his hand. He might even equip the Flowing Rings to get rid of an extra card.
Did play that Boar, so...
Yeah.
Okay, Gilded onto Xingqiu.
Yeah, we might also see even Liban just come down to replace Yayoi just to get rid of another card in his hand, because I think he's going to be drawing 5. Yeah, here we go.
Yep, there it is. Yayoi getting replaced, and Jet is officially at 6 stacks.
But we're about to see why Quick Swap is such a deciding card in this matchup, because, you know, Charlotte's trying to set up a Razor Burst here just to overwhelm his opponents with dice from Jet, but I think this Quick Swap Yilan Burst is really going to end things. Because I really can't see a way for him to recover.
Getting Yilan first off and Yilan OTK is good in itself, but
Here
also
comes the catch.
shutting down that Hyper Magic by not letting Charlotte get, you know, Jet procs is like doubly bad. And that
Oh.
judgment is coming one second too late.
One
Oh
turn
my
too
God.
late, yeah. That is one of the
Wait.
ways you can play around the quick swap is on that critical turn, play that judgment, but you almost never keep it in your hand. So you throw it away and just hope you draw it at the right moment, but turns out it is not the right time. Okay. So what
Okay,
here?
so what do you do here if you're Charlotte? You need to get someone's burst off. How do you do that?
I think you go to Xingqiu and just hope they don't have a way to take him out. Although with 4 dice on your opponent's side, I think they always do. And that's kind of like, that's the problem with applying. So we saw Charlotte skill twice on Razor, but applying Electro isn't all that important in this matchup. You know, I think
Chivalry will never die.
given the option, you would much prefer to just normal attack on Razor, apply Cryo, so that you can threaten a freeze here from Xingqiu. But because there's 2 Electro Auras, Shan could just swap onto Manifestation or Signora and take out Xingqiu here, no problems.
So if Shan goes on to Thunder Manifestation, it would actually, because Lightning Rod's on
Oh,
Razor,
this is enough.
I am.
but that is enough to take out
outplayed.
neutral.
Yep.
Present.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Rain Swords only triggers above 3 damage, so Shan make a very good play there, identifying that because
Attention
Elon's
frost.
attack and the follow-up hit is only 2 damage, gets underneath those Rain Swords.
So Charlotte's sitting on I haven't lost yet though, so he is gonna be able to get off Chongyu's burst.
Oh, he is gonna
But the
burst this
problem-
round.
The problem
Yeah.
is that he only has 1 jet.
Yeah, he only has 1 jet.
has a gamblers though.
No, you can't. You
and
can't.
4.
I don't know. Bursting Gate doesn't. So no matter what you do, though, your opponent's just gonna lock you out with freeze next round. But this might be.
No, I think Charlotte might be able to end it.
Oh, does
with
he have
War
enough dice?
Princess?
Hang on.
I think he
Does
might
he
have
have Liar?
enough.
He has Liar Song.
He has Liar Song. He has.
Oh, maybe.
One more second.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh wait,
so
no.
Shan.
He uses 4.
Yeah, I wonder if Shan maybe shouldn't have just taken out the Xingqiu there and instead waited another round. Oh, this is really
Because-
dangerous.
Okay, so 4 dice is gonna come from Jet, right? 4 on
Mm-hmm.
me, and then another 2 from Gamblers,
Yep. So it's going up to 6.
and then another 2 from the next
Yeah.
Gamblers.
That's probably enough. I mean, Shan does have an egg in his hand, so he might be able to make a comeback next round using egg somehow. Actually, wait. If
I
you
don't think it goes to next round.
no, I think Signora's gonna survive because of the revive, no matter what. Right, like Signora
Right,
should
because-
survive, but
okay.
it's really gonna come down to next turn. Shan has to decide carefully. Yeah, I think Signora's the right play here because she has that revive anyway. You would much rather have her tank.
Wait, is
Bust.
that the right play? Because
Well,
no
matter-
looking for that Jet.
yeah, no matter what you do,
Submit
I
for
think-
judgment.
you're gonna have Signora
I
get flipped
never
anyway.
asked for redemption.
But I think
Yeah,
you
but-
you can tank more damage this way by going to Signora, and you're really hoping for that egg and your food to come in clutch next round. But I don't
never
know
asked
if Charlotte
for
can end it this round. I
redemption.
think he's a couple of
Gamblers,
dice short.
Gamblers with 3 dice. I haven't lost yet for another dice, and then Liar Song Gilded. Is that not enough? And also, is that Opera?
It is Opera, actually. Yeah, Opera. That's still only 5. Though.
Right.
Oh, does it actually have the equipment?
Liar Song Gilded.
Mm-hmm. This is still only. Oh, I guess if that gets Opera up to
4.
6, then that might actually be it. Oh, yeah, it does have. I haven't lost yet. Never mind. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So Charlotte finding the line.
That's it.
Fourth,
Yeah, that's
my
it.
play.
That's it. I haven't lost yet first.
Oh, I did not expect that. Yeah, I thought Shan had a pretty good spot here, but maybe just not
Fourth,
during a
my
quick
play.
swap quite enough
Oh,
time.
dude.
But Charlotte finding the line in order to make. Wow.
Charlotte did not go for the burst and on Chongyun.
Mhm.
I'm a little disappointed, but that was very impressive. You know, like we've always said this since we started casting a long time ago, over a year ago at this point. But every dice matters. Every dice matters, especially in Hyper Magic, where
Yeah.
like you're trying to generate unlimited Omni dice. But Charlotte does take that last match and 3rd place in the Cattails Gathering 2024 Season 2 American
Very well
Finals. So
done.
congratulations to Charlotte. And also congratulations to Sean, you know, for making it this far in the knockouts. So
Yeah, and again, all the players here in the top 4 are going to make it to the Series Showdown. But that was a very interesting game. You know, that was actually... So that specific matchup was another game that I also lost to Charlotte playing that Razor deck while I was playing Elan OTK. So even though it's not favored, again, he finds those ways to kind of eke out those wins. And part of it was just playing around what his opponent was doing and not... One of the strengths about the deck, you don't have to rush for the burst, right? You can kind of delay and delay and delay, just wait for the right moment. And he picked that right moment. You know, his opponent, Shan, kind of, I think, got greedy there, taking out Xinchu, where really all you needed to do was just make sure you freeze your opponents into the next round to prevent them from using that dice. But because he attacked with Xinchu and used up all of his dice, you know, Charlotte was able to make a comeback there.
I am like really impressed that, you know, that deck won without going for Xinchu burst, and also only 1 jet, right? Like we've seen this deck get up to 4 jets in the past. I think like I've seen a screenshot with 4 jets because Zenyatta can also generate that jet, and you can draw your 2 jets out from your deck, and we only saw 1, but it was just enough, you know. I mean, this is why we call it hyper magic. Because it's not just the Gilded Dreams engine, but also you have Jet to generate those extra Omni. It's just, it's so fun to watch on.
The unique thing about that deck is it doesn't really play Jet as like a combo piece that you have to force out really early. She's just a value card, right? She just generates dice for you at the right time, in the right moment, and we saw it very effectively use that. So very well done by Charlotte there, well played.
It was exactly the right amount of dice, and he was able to find that line. It was very impressive. Yeah, well played to both players. But I think for now, we are going to be going to a brief break before we get into the finals match. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
and welcome back, travelers. Once again, this is the Cat Sales Gathering 2024 Season 2 America Finals, and we are now going into the Grand Finals. I'm your caster, Leah, aka Windflower Leah.
This is Blebdeen of Invocation Academy. Really very well played, I think, last round in kind of the third, fourth place match. So hats off to our winners there, but really looking forward to these finals for sure.
Definitely looking forward to these finals. Of course, we have Ting versus Frederick in game. I believe their Discord name is Augustus, if you have been keeping up to date with the ladder. Of course, we have the brackets updating throughout the KOs, but very excited, you know, Ting taking first place on the leaderboard this season, and Frederick taking third. I feel like that is a very good accomplishment just in itself, and now competing for first
I mean,
and
you
second,
can definitely see they deserve their spots up there. You know, Ting, it's been a while since he's kind of placed in this top level, but he's always been a very strong competitor, coming, of course, in the top 4 in the Prince Cup, the original North America Prince Cup here. And should be an exciting match. We had a chance to look at the deck list beforehand, and one of the interesting things, they actually have no overlapping decks between the 3 that they've chosen as options here, so we'll have to see.
Here is the leaderboard, of course.
Where am I? Look,
where are
number 13.
you? There are you. So yeah, Charlotte knocked Bleb out if you look at 4 and 13. And Charlotte did make his way to the third place match. Actually got knocked out by Ting. Sean was knocked out by Frederick. So we'll have to see who will take home the grand prize here of 1,000 USD. Will it be Ting or will it be Frederick?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say. So one of the things that, you know, I think people have really felt playing the current meta, it's one of the most scissors, paper, rock lineups we've had. And looking at Frederick's setup, he basically has one of each. He has a stall deck, an aggro deck, and a combo deck. And Ting has more of a variety with mostly aggro / mid-range decks. So just based on the lineup alone, it's really going to depend if Frederick can predict what Ting's going to bring and try and counter it. But if Frederick plays kind of a standard order, I think Ting has the advantage.
I was looking at the leaderboard and I got confused for a second, but I mean, Ting brought basically 3 aggro decks, but they're kind of varying in how aggro they are, right?
Exactly.
And I do see that Ting brought that Fire Station. I really hope he plays it because, I mean, I lost to it. I played him in a mirror matchup because, of course, I spammed Fire Station the entire Cat Sales Gathering and nearly made it into KOs. But here we go, Frederick bringing Finale. Wow, this is the first time we've seen Finale today.
I know, which is really unusual, but I mean, it's really fallen out of popularity, I think, recently, because people are starting to find other strategies that are more synergistic. Finale's always been this like very value-centric deck, which playing the best cards with the best characters, but we're starting to see, you know, like those combo decks and those freeze decks that were coming out before, that we have different strategies kind of taking the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, like, I remember when we were preparing for the preliminary phase, a lot of people were anticipating playing against Finale in the prelims, you know, those 35 games where you're just blind picking a deck. So I feel like throughout the course of this Cat Sales Gathering, players have learned to conquer in some ways. I also feel like it took a blow when Stove was nerfed. Of course, you know, it's the number of rounds -1 now for how many cards you draw, and that used to be what you brought. Now you bring Covenant. So. Yeah,
which is definitely weaker. You know, card draw is required for that consistency between Gilded Dream Flyer Song to enable that magic combo. And, you know, one of the reasons that Razor Freeze deck works so well is because of how much card draw it's running. You know, it's not just about the individual power level of cards, but it's about how consistently you can get them out. And Finale really has trouble with card draw now that Stove is no longer in the picture.
Ting playing. Okay, I faced this deck once in the prelims as well. I believe you call this Lynette Superconduct, Lynette SC.
Lynette Superconduct or Lynette Cube. You know, they're definitely the stars of this deck here. And weirdly enough, I've been told, and I still don't know if I believe it 100%, but this apparently has a very favorable matchup into Finale.
I mean, you have that swirl and you also have Superconduct.
Yeah.
But what was it you called it before? Magic Icebox?
Magic Ice. Yeah, we're trying to come up with, I mean, there's so many different varieties of decks right now. It's hard to come up with names because you have to name them all, but I don't know. I threw out Magic Icebox just as a gag there. But I don't know if that's a good name or not. Probably not. But I'm really excited to see this being played.
Me too. The double Tandoori is particularly interesting to me, and the cheeky Catherine and Ting's deck.
I mean, the Catherine, Quick Swap is so important right now in the current meta with how fast things are. You really even want more than the 2 Lever Timmys you normally have. And with Seed Dispensary, Catherine actually regularly costs 0, and so is actually worth playing as another Lever Timmy effect. But I'm sure the double Tandoori is a way to be better at the combo matchup, because one of this deck's weaknesses is I don't think it goes particularly well into something like Yelan OTK, because you can't pressure Yelan or freeze her like we saw in the last game, so you don't have a way to deal with that deck effectively. But Tandoori does let you put out a lot more damage surprise.
Here we go. We're getting into our first match. This is the finals. It's also best of 3. Just a reminder as well, this they changed the Castiel's Gathering to be a conquest format. Of course, these players aren't submitting decks beforehand. They're still blind picking, but if they win with the deck, they can't play it again. So we'll have to see who takes the win this time, because we won't be seeing that deck again.
Yeah, so in the last best of 3, you know, it was only 2 games, but we saw Shan change decks in game 2. He didn't have to. He could have played the Child Layla Barbara deck again in match 2, but chose not to, which I think is correct, anticipating his opponent was going to combo. But yeah, this round 1 is very important because it kind of it eliminates one of the possibilities, and then you can kind of use that information once you've won or lost to figure out what your opponent might bring in the next one.
So I just noticed Ting has a copy, I believe it's Shadow the Sand King?
Yep, Shadow the Sand King, yeah.
It's 1 cost now as well. It used to be 2 costs.
No, Shadow the Sand King was always 1 cost. It started off being very popular, yeah, but it hasn't been used. People usually favor Vorukasha, but because Vorukasha was adjusted, they've moved on, I think, to Shadow the Sand King as a more consistent way to draw cards.
I think we only saw it played once during the Asia Invitational.
Yes. It had a short shelf life because, like, the patch was introduced, it was pretty good, but I think it was before Gilded Dreams. And then the next patch, we got Vorukasha, Cabareta, all of those 0 cost plus Gilded Dreams, and completely overshadowed Shadow of the Sand King, but still a very strong card.
Overshadowed,
yeah. Overshadowed of the Sand King. Interesting
also,
opening by Ting here.
Yeah, he's starting Lynette. I was gonna ask you about this because, I mean, I would think you'd start Fischl and go for Oz, right? That feels like a standard start to me, but what do you think is the logic here?
Ting's almost certainly still going to go to Fischl. I think the reason it's going to do this opening, so normally you would open Fischl and go to Cube, but if you do that, Cube takes a lot of damage early on because it eats the Oz attack, it eats the Nahida skill, but because Ting is going second, playing this way, I think lets him
rest for the wicked
and take a hit on Nahida from Nahida before going to Cube.
The threads of your fate lie in my hands.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, Lynette eating that Electro from Oz, and now you see the swap onto Fischl. Most certainly an Oz coming from Ting, right?
Yeah, gonna be Oz, and Ting actually having the perfect dice for this as well.
Yes.
So, and he's
just perfect.
He's so lucky that Frederick didn't play the Gilded before he played the Opera, because there was a window where if Frederick had played that Gilded on Nahida, he would have been able to deny that Opera.
Yeah, Frederick not playing the Gilded at all this round, instead tuning for that 3-cost skill, and Ting is managing these reactions perfectly, I think.
Oh, interesting. Is he gonna go for another skill?
Covenant.
I think we're gonna see another skill.
Covenant.
Yeah.
Gilded.
Covenant, Gilded, Tune, and he can skill again. Yeah, to threaten Cube. That's a very aggressive play. I kind of like it, though.
It's a very aggressive play.
I think doing it this way, you actually threaten Cube next round before it has a chance to burst. So what to say?
I have to get rid of that.
Yeah, that's a tough choice.
That's painful.
I think you do it. Like, you're only 1 dice short. It's a huge damage difference because you apply that seed. It's 2 damage difference, and those breakpoints matter because of Cube's revive. I think you do it.
Yeah, I mean, because if Cube falls to an elemental reaction, then Cube comes in and just kills Cube anyway in the same turn. Ooh, I'll pick that normal. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I mean, quick swaps are so important. You know, Ting is running 3 himself, so I can definitely see that. It's a tough choice to make. You know, having to tune there is so painful. I think if Frederick didn't have to tune at all, that this game might turn out very differently. But We'll have to see if that
But-
pays off.
That could mean the difference between Cube dying
Yeah.
or not dying, right?
It really
not
could,
having
yeah.
that seed on Cube.
It's a
So we're gonna have to see if
big
that comes
decision.
back. Yeah, it is a big decision. I know quick swap is important, but
Yeah.
no,
But I really
notice Frederick has
Go
2
ahead.
copies of quick swap in his deck.
Okay. Yeah. So he could have drawn into another one.
Yeah.
But you know, that's one of the things. Like, there's a lot less draw power from Finale right now. So I think you can't just get like bank on drawing that second quick swap. If you think it's important in this matchup, maybe to threaten Lynette later because she
Oh.
is going to be the anchor. Oh,
Wait, huh?
okay.
Wait. Okay,
Oh,
this
I like
basically
this.
guarantees Cube dies.
Yes. Yeah. So I like this over burst because if you burst and don't apply seeds, you won't be able to take out Cube through the revive. But now it makes sense why you kept the quick swap because I think we're going to see it come into play next.
Yep,
Yeah,
quick
here we go.
swab onto most likely
Linny.
Linny. And
Unfortunately, I have
any
to tune a
elemental
lot.
reaction here, yeah, but I mean, any elemental reaction here is going to be enough to actually take out Cube.
That's a really aggressive play, but one of the really key things here, notice there's no cryo anymore on Frederick's side. So one of the ways the Lynette Cube deck really gets ahead is by swirling cryo onto Electro and then doing superconduct with swirl. But Frederick has played in a way that has denied that, despite
The
I
threads
thought
of
a
your
pretty
fate
good
lie in
opening
my hands.
from Ting's side to avoid reactions himself.
That is very, very painful for Ting.
Yeah.
Cryo keep falling to Nakida's seeds. I really think that line from Frederick is super interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to count the Lynette deck out yet. You know, Frederick had to give up a lot to make that play, right? He had to give up some damage early on. He's probably not going to be able to Nahida burst this game either, so he's going to give that up. And Linny is also very low. Normally, you want to finish on a lot higher health than Linny. So, despite being a very good play, I think it's still a very close game. Unfortunately, that Opera is stuck at 2 for Ting because he doesn't have the equipment to overcome the equipment advantage.
Ting went for normal, by the way, instead of refreshing Oz. I think it makes sense, but it feels bad. It feels bad a bit.
Yeah, it's more damage if you don't think the Electro application will come up, and it shouldn't because Oz will land a hit anyway. So, definitely painful, but you know, sometimes I've made this mistake before. I remember very clearly in the game where, like, on Yao Yao especially, I used to skill instead of normaling, and that's definitely the wrong choice because you always want to try normal there. Ooh.
Okay, so
Okay.
Official is gonna be left at 1 HP.
Yeah, but Lynette is going to start swirling.
You know,
So,
Lynette will be able to swirl.
The crucial thing is going to be... Oh, that's pretty huge. The crucial thing is going to be those operas. If Ting can take out the equipment on Frederick's side and trigger those operas, that's how he wins the game.
Also, if Ting can draw into Lynette Talon, because I don't think he has yet, right?
Not yet, yeah. I mean, I don't think he has any more card draw in his hand, so he's going to have to play without Lynette Talon. But if I didn't see if Frederick has any food to keep Nahida alive, because Nahida is the one that's most critical right now with 3 dice worth of equipment with Gilded. If she goes down along with Linny, then those 2 Opera are going to trigger and be more than enough. So I think Frederick's going to need to try and keep all his characters alive this round. And if he can do that, he can probably come out on top.
Frederick did draw into that second quick swap. I wonder... So... Yeah, taking out Official here would enable Ting to go for that Electro Swirl on Linny, which
I
could
think that's a
actually
mistake.
be, especially with Freshman to Freedom in Ting's hand.
That's right. Actually, Fresh Ruin, would... Yeah, if Frederick takes out Official here, I think he just immediately loses. Okay, so...
Yeah, it's kind
okay.
of bait.
Yeah, I was very much hoping he would not make that play and instead swap to Official. This is the correct line. You want your opponent to stay on Official because it's really awkward now for Ting to use any skills on Official. And if he does swap to Lynette, then Frederick does have that line to quick swap onto
Yes,
Linny
quick
and
swappers.
overload. Mhm.
Or that as well. It could just overload Lynette back onto Official.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, you
Time
could
for
definitely
afternoon
also Nahida. I think you want to go to Linny though, because then if you go to Nahida, your opponent can just normal attack Nahida to take her out. So I think you want to go to Linny and overload them off.
Is that food in Ting's hand Adeptus?
I believe it's a Tandoori. He doesn't run Adeptus. It should be 2 Tandoris and 2 Lotuses.
Tandoori. Tandoori would
Yeah, so
not
that's
be
a
very
Tandoori.
good for Fischl at all, but I mean, I
No.
haven't lost yet. Burst on Fischl wouldn't be bad either if he can somehow,
No
if he
egg,
can somehow
unfortunately.
get Fischl down more.
Yeah, I really like Frederick's position here, especially with that swap. That was the key move to make right now in this moment. You want to protect your characters with equipment.
But the question is,
Mm-hmm.
do you quick swap from Fischl to Nahida or Linny, or do you stay on Fischl? Like, what do you do here?
I would go to Linny because I think putting your opponent onto Fischl is key. Because if you put them onto Fischl, they don't have any good follow-up on Linny. And then if they swap back to Lynette, you just go back to Fischl. So I really love this play here.
And
Unfortunately, it didn't have to.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
tuning, though, yeah.
To draw off that gilded. Oh, that Tandoori! I guess it didn't matter. It was 1 short anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been enough, unfortunately, but... Linny does
Change it.
heal 1 from Bewildering Lights to have 1 sec of prop surplus. But I mean, I feel like if you're Ting, you
Oz,
just
reveal
play more
thyself.
skill, yeah.
Yeah, here probably skill makes sense because you can get up to the Oz. Funnily enough, we know that Frederick doesn't have enough dice to skill again. But obviously, Ting doesn't, so he wasn't able to safely go back to Lynette, which is unfortunate. Ooh. We don't take a
Normal
Lynette here?
attack to take Fischl out.
One shell.
But this isn't
Ooh, I don't know if I
gonna
like
be
this.
very
One
good for
second.
Frederick, actually.
Yeah.
Yep, there's
Oh,
fresh
we're gonna see a
wind.
Tandoori.
Over here.
Oh, right,
Quick,
actually, we don't even need to.
drop.
Right.
Don't need a
Curtains.
Tandoori. But if Frederick chooses Fischl here instead of Nahida, then no, because it's 1 die short.
Yeah. I really don't know if I like that. Honestly, I think a swap back onto Fischl might have been
Wait.
better. You do lose Nahida, but Fischl isn't the one
Let
with
the
gambles.
magic begin.
Yeah, this is just done.
Opera.
Yeah, now operas are going to trigger
that's
as
it.
well. That's it.
Wait, that's literally it. We can see this from Opera.
Wow.
And
Yeah. I think Frederick not playing around that I haven't lost yet was critical. Oh, he's even going to concede. Wow. Okay.
Okay, we don't see many concedes here. This is the finals. I mean, whoever loses will be second place as well, but
I feel like we saw it in our last class as well.
We
I guess
did.
we did. NA is just known for the concessions. Wow. I mean, very well played by Ting. I think it was definitely a mistake on Frederick's side. I believe if he didn't go for the kill on Fischl there and just swap back, let Fischl burst and just go to next round, he would have had the upper hand. But because he let Lynette take over with that gamblers there and give Ting that free swap, that cost him the game.
I feel like having Fischl burst go off would have also been bad though because of breakpoints. Like Nahida would have fallen. Like it really depends on who Frederick swaps to, right? And
Nahida would have
Linny-
gone down, but critically, it doesn't trigger the operas once that happens. And secondly, Fischl doesn't have the gamblers. Like that's the key thing there.
Right, yeah.
Because Lynette
Yeah, the
had the
gamblers
gamblers,
was on Lynette.
she was able to snowball 1 kill into the sweep on the team. Whereas if Fischl takes out Nahida, it's not great, but you're still fine to go into the next round and then use Linny to clean up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a very well played game from Ting. I'm really excited
Yeah.
going to the next game to see what is going to be picked here.
We've seen some
Any particular-
very unusual, like each time, I guess people have played these decks so much that each time these two decks get matched against each other, everyone takes completely different lines from what we're used to, right? That was wild with like how, starting on Lynette and then not only that, Cube going down before it can even burst, but then still winning anyway. Like it's been crazy.
I mean, this is something I've noticed about Geniusification in general. I feel like what's meta is normally a response to what used to be meta.
Yeah.
Like new strategies keep emerging to beat the current strategies. It's very interesting to watch. But here we go. This is our game 2 of the grand finals. Frederick is bringing out Yelan OTK. I don't see anything special here.
Yeah, nothing special here. Obviously, Frederick didn't have to swap decks, but I think seeing how well your opponent played against finally, I would also be afraid to queue into it again in case they bring something like a stall deck that's even more favored. Obviously, the players don't know what the other side is potentially going to pick here. You know, we have access to their pre-submitted deck list beforehand, but the players are going in blind. I like this pick of Yelan OTK. Definitely one of the stronger decks out there into the field. Especially seeing your opponent play Fischl, you know they can't play Finale, right? Because they've already used up Fischl as a character, so it's a lot safer to play this deck.
Honestly, I really like the single copy of NRE in this deck, especially considering how much food Frederick's taking. Has egg, 2 meat rolls, 2 NSC, 2 Lotus. And it's gonna enable him to use that Chef Mal. Here, Ting is playing Fire Station. Let's go. Okay, I really wanted to see this deck played because I lost to it. I lost to him playing it. Mirror matchup. It was like 1 point of damage.
This is a really tough matchup, I think, for Yelan, actually. This is probably one of the, out of the 2 decks Ting could have picked, this is probably the worst matchup for it. Because of Thunder Manifestation, you have a really hard time getting Yelan Burst. Like, you have to play around their quick swap manifestation skill into next round on Bennett, and it's so hard.
It is very hard. This is probably the most aggressive deck Ting has brought. He brought 3 aggro decks. The first one he played is a bit more mid-rangey. This is the fastest one, if he gets the right dice, right? And also, if he gets that Bennett talent and Sapwood, we have to be looking for that. Of course, I really like the Catherine NRE pick for Ting as well.
Yeah, that is also very unusual. NRE with only 5 food cards in the deck.
I think, I think it makes sense. One thing I personally struggled with, because I basically played 20 games of Fire Station, 25 games actually, because I lost a ton. One thing I really struggled with was card draw. If you don't have any way of generating cards, especially if you have to tune a whole lot going into Fire Station, it just feels really bad. But of course, Ting
just draw Willow
with NSC. Blade. That's so good. Wait.
This is gonna be such a hard game for Frederick to come back on. Ting has the perfect cards. He has Willow to draw after dumping his hand. He has Sapwood Blade to really pressure Yelan, and the quick swap. So I mean, the fact that you only had to throw away 1 card just shows how strong that hand he is. Frederick, I think he needs to not force Yelan Burst. If Frederick keeps a hand that is going to 3 skill on Yelan round 1, I think he's just going to lose.
I think the unfortunate thing, so if you're Ting and you start Sapwood, you kind of have to normal, and you can't quick swap kill.
You don't need to do it round 1, right? Because if Yelan skills 3 times, you always go before them next round, and so you can set up easily for round 2 kill. That's really the plan. You're not looking to snipe Yelan off round 1. It's really round 2 where you want to do that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You can go for that line later, but just think about FTKs. You either go for the FTK or you go for Bennett Burst.
Oh, Frederick keeping that Minty Meat Roll. So he's going to try and go for a rush on Yelan Burst, but I think that's going to really come back to bite him. You know, the deck runs... The Yelan OTK deck runs a lot of food like Minty Meat Rolls, Northern Smoked Chicken to discount normal attacks, but once Yelan goes down, those cards are really bad. And based on the cards in his hand right now, he has NRE and Chef Bao. Those are really going to draw him a lot of dead cards. So this is going to be tough.
Yeah, that's a bit of a feels bad moment. I mean, Frederick did put back that NSC too, which I know, like, staying on Yelan is pretty dangerous against Fire Station, but still. Whoa, here we go. So the Sapwood of Warrior Kasha right off the bat.
Look at,
and of course,
seeing how
Ting
fast
gets those 2 pyro back.
Seeing how fast Ting is playing, like, he's got the perfect opener. Like, this is exactly what you want. You exactly use up all your dice because you can drop Seed Dispensary into Willow. You get your 2 extra cards off of Willow. I mean, when you want a high roll, this is the time to be doing it in the finals of the Cat's Tail NA.
When you're playing Fire Station.
Yeah, I feel really bad. Like, there's almost no... I'm trying to think of what draw Frederick could possibly have to come back, and I don't think you can. Like, this type of draw out of Fire Station is just going to be unbeatable from Yelan OTK's perspective. There's really nothing you can do to come back from it unless you, like, completely avoid going for Yelan's Burst at all. But even then, because of that quick swap, you can't even apply Hydro to multiple characters.
Yeah, so the one thing I will have to say about Fire Station is if Ting gets really bad dice and is forced to tune his entire hand, it could be really bad next round. Like, you could start really well on this deck and then totally low roll your round 2. Also, not having Bennett talent right now, like, it's not the end of the world, but ideally you have Bennett talent just to make it more consistent. So, I mean, there are ways that Yolan OTK can still win here, but I do think Fire Station's heavily favored, especially with the start. Speaking from my experience, I played so many games of this.
Yeah, I don't think you really like Bennett talent is obviously better, but I don't think you need it in this matchup because you actually, I think, want the healing a little bit more than the damage in this case, especially because you can deny that Yulan burst so easily. The main threat isn't the combo, so you're not trying to erase their damage, but more sustaining the damage from Signora and Manifestation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world to not have it, but if Frederick playing Chef Mal and NRE gets an NSC, but I don't really know what that's...
Yeah, I wonder if Frederick's not used to playing against Fire Station and knows about because if you open Sapwood with the Fire Station deck, Yulan's actually threatened even before, even without having to swap to Manifestation, right? Like, we're gonna see, what is it? Bennett's skills taking Yulan down to 3, and then she can go down to a normal attack.
Yeah, because Ting's always going to enter. You always have that quick swap to TM. That Lightning Rod is going to stick to Yulan like glue. There's no way to get it off of her, and he's going to be ending second. So Yulan is basically already dead.
Yeah, there's no way he can rush for a burst, right? If Frederick attacks again, he just loses this game immediately.
That Seed Dispensary into... Oh, so good.
That's... Oh. I mean... I know you're probably thinking you're in a losing position anyway, but there's no, like, that third attack from Yulan is never going to be how you win this game. Your opponent can always take out Yulan no matter what you do. Even if better burst is going to be enough. Like, I don't know. I that's really suspect.
Better burst would be enough with Sapwood. That's true. Because Sapwood's +1 damage. So, I mean, honestly, you just go for better burst if you're taking even without Salad.
Yeah, and now Opera comes down as well.
Opera, yup.
It's gonna have to tune 1, but at this point, it's always worth it.
Here we go.
What are
I don't know if it always seems like Frederick gave up from round 1 because there's never a line where going for the third attack on Yulan that is correct. You always want to swap off and maybe hope to do an I haven't lost yet burst after Fire Station gets taken out. Manifestation gets taken out.
Fire Station.
Sorry.
So I don't think it's so much that Frederick gave up. I just think if you're playing... Okay, so in the first place, like, aggro into stall... I mean, aggro into combo is already, like, really good for aggro, right? So Fire Station already has an advantage just being the faster deck between the two. But, like, in general, this Bennett's Thunder Manifestation core is just so hard to play around. I've heard from many, many top players, not only, you know, Ting is playing it, but I know a couple of others who placed into the top 16 either played against it and had no idea what to do against it, or they were playing it themselves. Like, I've heard so much that they don't know how to counter this deck because not many people are playing it, and it's suddenly gained popularity.
I mean, with that opening, it almost didn't matter, but I definitely think, like, keeping minty meat rolls, I believe, was pretty greedy because you're almost never going to 3-skill on Yulan. I think the correct play is to just skill twice and either try and end before them or swap off onto Manifestation earlier. But you basically spent a card to build energy on Yulan, didn't even apply any Hydro, and then just threw away Yulan and 3 energy. And I don't think that's ever a winning line. So I get that you're already unfavored, but, like, you have to at least try something different in order to make up for that disadvantage. And just going for three attacks on Yulan there was never going to win the game. So it's rare that I'll call a game from, like, round 1, but I think we pretty much just saw the game end on round 1.
We kind of did. I mean, like, not having the Hydro Dice on Yulan to even skill is just really bad for Yulan OTK in general, right? And, like, letting Bennett get his burst off and taking Yulan out is just...
Yeah. Surprised not just staying on Bennett there, because I think you could just, like, stay on Bennett, keep healing up the damage, and making use of that burst because he doesn't have talent. But I guess this way he does output more damage.
I mean, Bennett is going to be taking that skill anyway from Thunder Manifestation. Yeah,
so maybe try and prioritize damage here. I I guess this forces his opponent to use a skill rather than just use a normal attack, which might eat into some of their resources. Oh, again, in the end, it almost doesn't matter. Like it's so right now the matchup is so one-sided in Ting's favor that it would take a lot for Frederick to come back. Although having said that, having lost to Solo Barbara, you're never dead until you're fully dead. So
Yayoi playing NSC for that extra dice. Then it does fall to 2 with that skill, and I mean Ting's immediately playing that Vanarana passing. Like
yeah.
Like that,
I mean,
just like that.
Ting's lines are straightforward. He's already made the plays that get him ahead, and so now he just needs to maintain his advantage. And yeah, we're probably gonna see solo Klee next round, but we're gonna Manifestation Burst is probably gonna come down, but we're just gonna see all of that damage get healed by Klee, because again, Signora Manifestation do damage slowly, and so that's the perfect time for the Bennett healing to come up. And that's why I said the talent doesn't matter too much, because as long as you can heal through the damage, it's very hard for the opponent to pressure you without Yulan's Burst.
Definitely. And also, you know, Ting going to Klee here and not Thunder Manifestation means that Thunder Manifestation is going to be able to clean up very nicely.
Yeah.
Assuming, you know, both Bennett and Klee fall somehow. This is kind of ideal in some ways. You get to apply a whole lot of pyro to the enemy and then just overload. So
yeah, it looks like you're probably playing around something like Gamblers to take out Bennett and then maybe somehow come out with the win. So this is the safer play. Again, taking damage is not a big deal because you have that Bennett burst up and you're just going to recover all of that health next round.
Here we go, Frederick tuning to, had to think carefully about what to tune to cast that Thunder Manifestation Burst. There is the Bennett talent, a bit too late.
I mean, we could see a second, it's not out of this world that we'll
It's
see
not.
a second burst go down.
True.
But I don't think Ting is going to need it. We're probably just going to see Klee solo, and if Klee ever goes down, Manifestation will just sweep up with the damage. Especially with the dice very heavily favoring Ting.
Here we go, Klee skill.
Yeah.
And there's
In fact,
the
we
heal.
could just see a quick swap onto Manifestation to take out the opposing Manifestation and leave them with just Signora.
Signora is a very strong finisher in Yulan OTK, even without Yulan's burst, just because that revive and the amount of damage she deals in her pyro form is a whole lot. But, ooh, interesting quick swap on Signora.
Yeah, I guess you're kind of forced to make this play in order to trigger reactions. Because if you don't trigger any reactions, you're kind of dead. But Signora's not good at outputting damage. Like, Signora never beats Bennett Burst, right? Because Klee can just sit here,
Yeah,
heal
just
up,
normal attack.
and then you're kind of
good
back
thing
where you started.
Yeah, the good thing about going on Klee too is that every time you skill, you do have that charge attack that's already discounted, which
Exactly.
is just so good. You get to preserve your dice. And now both of Frederick's characters have pyro auras, and Ting's sitting on that quick swap.
That's actually really key. The one thing though, Ting doesn't have...
smolders.
If he swaps, he doesn't have a way to do 2 skills. So we might just see him stay on Klee here, although his dice are really bad.
Dice are really bad.
Yeah, so I guess we could see a swap and then just save 2 dice from Vanarana into the next round once again, and just try again next round. I think that would be fine. Bennett Burst would run out by then, though, is the thing. I kind of just like tune 3.
Bennett Burst is going to run out here. You could definitely just tune.
I like tune personally, because I think the healing again is more important than the damage. You want to get Signora below 5 for sure, so that she transforms.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Like, the healing is important on Klee, but also Signora falling below 4 health, or 4 below, is really important, so she no longer has that revive going next round.
And we're finally seeing Ting slow down. He played the early game so blisteringly fast, but now he actually has to think.
He does have to think.
Yeah, because like I said, you don't want to never count the opponent out yet. They can still come back from this. Of course, if there's a superconduct reaction, Bennett is going to go down, so he has to be thinking about that as well. Yeah, he is going to go for it.
Yep. I think this is fine.
We honestly might see a swap to Bennett.
I mean,
I think you don't want to end on Klee here. could burst. Burst is an option.
You could burst.
And tune the rest of your hand. Not the worst. But I think that quick swap might be relevant. So I think your options are either go to Bennett and end, or tune for Klee's burst. But unfortunately, the burst isn't going to take out Signora because she does have that revive.
King also doesn't know what Arcane Frederick's taking. And I mean, I know you don't really go Freshman to Freedom and you learn MTK, but it is possible.
It's almost always Covenant, or occasionally you might see Judgment. So I think he must be thinking, I mean, Frederick's already ended, so this round he's completely safe, but it's a matter of what he wants to sacrifice at the beginning of the next round. Because if he stays on Klee goes down to transformed Signora Burst, which I think you would much rather take on Bennett.
Yeah, I think swapping to Bennett is fine, letting those two Electro go to Hana, right?
Yep. Ooh, so he's gonna go for the burst.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like this is risky because now he's out of cards, and if he rolls his dice next turn, that's gonna be rough. But he does get that extra 2 healing on Klee.
Yeah.
So that could be important.
In the end, it probably doesn't matter. I think that with the extra 2 healing, so what essentially is going to do, if Frederick skills, Signora's going to take herself out, basically, off of the Klee burst, and then after Manifestation uses its skill, then it's kind of no way for Frederick to come back, right? He has to do something on his own Manifestation, but as soon as he does, the Klee burst will take her out anyway. So this is the more aggressive play. I think it makes sense, though. I think saving dice could be risky in case your opponent has some kind of way to combo off very quickly. But Frederick does have food, so unfortunately Lotus... No, Lotus would be enough to save. So I think you have to Lotus here, which I believe is what is in his hand, although that could be Minty Meat Rolls.
I think it doesn't matter what Frederick does. I mean, even if you
it might not.
Lotus...
Yeah.
Like, the double gamblers in hand for is actually super crucial, I think.
Actually, it is, yeah. During those 2 gamblers...
Gonna save Ting in a lot of ways. It's dice fixing to an extent as well, which is super important.
I guess the only thing that could put Ting to trouble is his dice, but I think he rolled just enough usable dice to make it work no matter what. Because, like, Bennett doesn't have to skill, right? We can just use Bennett normal attacks here. So we're gonna have to see, can Frederick pull something out here?
See, if Frederick has a Lotus, like if that isn't Minty Meat Rolls, then that's Lotus and uses it, so Signora
I think it might be
die.
Minty Meat Rolls. That's kind of the problem, as I said, with the food in this deck, is if Yelan's Burst doesn't go off, you're very limited in how many useful food that you can have.
But my point is that Ting can equip Gamblers, so they won't get the Omni in response if Signora dies before then, so... In a way, it's actually good if Signora just dies and he doesn't protect her.
I mean, it's going to come down to how many actions each side to perform. So if you can prevent Signora from going down to Klee, I think you always do it. Because it's very important that you force your opponent to take another action. Because one of the troubles with the Fire Station deck is it has trouble dealing like 1 or 2 points of damage, right? Like it loves to do damage in big chunks of 5 or 6 or even 8, 9. But if you can force it to take out like a 1 HP character inefficiently, then that's where you can really get an edge over it with other decks.
And that is a Lotus. So Lotus comes on to Signora. So basically when Klee's burst hits her, it's not going to kill her. She's going to eat through the Lotus. She's going to be left on 1 HP. That will enable Ting to equip like Gamblers is the thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So really
we're gonna see.
matter.
We're almost going to see Gilded go on to Manifestation, followed by Gamblers on Signora. And that's going to leave Frederick with 2 more skills out of Manifestation. Oh, it's going to be a swap.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Wait. Why? Wait, I'm confused.
I guess he wants to force Ting to use up dice on Klee. But I feel like Ting's just going to go to Bennett? In this case?
Do you go Bennett? I mean, so Lightning Rod's already on Klee.
True.
So it doesn't matter if you slow swap to anyone.
Yeah, you could just charge attack here to bring... If you bring Manifestation down to 5, then a skill from your own Manifestation will kill no matter what. So that's a good break point to have.
You can just go manifestation and kill manifestation. Kill. You take out
could.
Frederick's manifestation because it's gonna be 5
Yeah.
damage exactly. Actually, no.
I guess
6.
Bennett goes down no matter what because of the superconduct.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess Frederick's hiding that gamblers, so he's hoping for his opponent to make a certain play here, and then he's gonna equip gamblers and maybe finish on Signora.
I think this is what you have to do if you're Ting, because basically
Yeah.
the response is going to be to take out Thunder Manifestation with Gamblers.
Right.
But
Here comes the Gilded. And we're probably gonna just see it get replaced for an extra die. It's gonna be
Probably.
close. Because once you replace it, Gamblers will bring you up to basically same amount of dice because you replace it, and then 10 with Gamblers, 11. It's actually 1 short of doing an extra skill. Unfortunately, that Covenant in Frederick's hand, not going to be able to use this round. Would have allowed him to get an extra skill out.
yeah, he played 4, so Clean's
Couldn't
left
break
at 1.
Curse.
Yeah. And that's actually pretty important as well.
There, that is exactly the damage needed. That
It doesn't
actually
matter, I
it's
think.
1 more. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So yeah, it's over. Ting just wins.
Manifestation has way more. I mean, the only thing that could save Frederick in this case is maybe an egg. Oh, another concession.
Okay, so
Wow.
double concession in the finals. I mean, we know it's coming, so it's not really a surprise that Ting is going to be taking that game, because no matter what Senor does, she is going to eat that Cleese burst, right?
Yeah.
And she's going to be left at 1 HP. Ting just has to like blow on her, like, and she falls over. So, I mean,
Yeah.
congratulations to Ting for being the
Yeah.
finalist. Grand
I mean,
champion here.
Taking first place in the leaderboards in preliminaries and then going on to first, that it's very rare for that to happen. I know Robot Wizard probably has done it once at least as well, but they might be the only 2 people to have achieved that. It takes a lot of consistency to be able to make it that far. But yeah, that was, I mean, honestly, that was such a rough game for Frederick. Like, there's very
really
few
was,
games I'd be willing to call from the first round, but that would be one of them. Just Ting's hand was perfect going to Yelan OTK. Frederick also opened, I think, in one of the worst ways possible into what Ting was trying to do. But yeah, almost kind of trying to find some lines to come back there, but not quite enough. Again, too many dead cards with like minty meat rolls and smoked chicken once Yelan goes down without using a burst.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, many games can change over the course. Like, whatever the first round looks like is not necessarily going to be how it ends, right? Like, you can high roll a whole lot in your first round and then just end up losing the game anyway. But Frederick's start was really rough, and Ting just kept up that advantage. And I feel like those breakpoints are really, really important to think about. You know, Ting lost that Bennett burst, but it didn't matter in the end because you know, Klee burst was enough to bring Frederick's Thunder Manifestation down to be taken out by Ting's Thunder Manifestation skill. It's just those breakpoints are so important. I feel like like also Ting taking aggressive plays there and tuning everything so many rounds in a row to really go for those plays. I feel like that was very important. So yeah,
managing his resources well. I mean, again, it's in the end does come down to just managing your dice and cards as efficiently as possible. But big congratulations to Ting, you know, taking first place. Been a while since we've seen him in the finals, but I'm sure we'll see him again, hopefully in the Prince Cup. I mean, all of the participants again here today have made it into the Series Showdown, where they'll have to battle it out again to qualify for the Prince Cup. So they still have a long road ahead of them, but this is the first step.
Speaking of the Series Showdown, so I mean, Castle's Gathering Season 3 will be returning in patch 4.6. We're taking a break for next patch, but we'll be back in 4.6 for Season 3. So if you're watching at home and you want to compete, you don't know how to compete, head over to the Tavern Discord server and stay tuned for updates on that. You can sign up and compete yourself. Maybe you will cast over your matches. If you play in NA, it'd be really fun. Maybe I'll play against you, because we're playing now, right? In the preliminaries. But so that's news number 1. News number 2 is that the Series Showdown is coming next patch in patch 4.5. So if you have qualified, check out that leaderboard posted in Tavern to see your point count, and stay tuned for news about that. It's coming pretty quickly, and of course, the cutoff. I think it's
the cutoff. We're not sure here. I mean, I could like have a small chance of making it in. We'll have to see. I only have 10 points because I didn't play all of my games in the first season, which now I'm wishing I did. I didn't think I'd be back here. And I forgot to mention it, you know, the last time I appeared in a Cattail Gathering top 4 was actually playing against Ting in one of pretty much this time last year. I beat him to get third place, so there's that. So I had that going for me. But obviously, Ting's a much better player now. You know, to be able to take first, and this is very impressive.
Yeah, I know he worked really hard to attain that. I think, Robot Wizard did take second place. They had the same score in the end. It was like 29 and 6.
Mhm.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, that is definitely an impressive feat, especially as these tournaments are getting more and more competitive as time goes
They
on.
are.
So,
They are hard.
definitely
Yeah.
congratulations to these players. You know, Ting gets 1,000 USD for getting first place. And I'm really excited for the Series Showdown coming next patch. Of course, it's going to be the qualifiers for the Prince Cup, which is those live events. So, really, really excited to see some really good games.
So hyped.
soon.
Yeah. And if you're watching at home, you know, anyone can join in one of these and compete. Again, the competition is really tough. And if you did compete in the last season, you're a bit discouraged about your results. Really don't be. I feel like if you achieve anything, even above like a 50% win rate or close, you're actually in the top percentage of players already. It is that fierce of a competition right now. You know, you saw how high level the play was today, right? Like all the decks that we saw, we've seen these decks before on camera, but each opponent played it in a slightly different way according to how the matchup requires you to play it. And that's that level of practice with familiar decks is what makes a difference between, you know, being able to make these top level tournaments.
I really feel like that's important to note too, that, you know, the game is going to change as players adapt to what's currently good. That's something I've noticed after casting for over a year now, this game. Like, there are things that are good right now that probably won't be as good next patch, not only due to balance changes, but because players are thinking about how to beat it, you know? And that's really important. We see players not going for typical lines today because they're trying to outsmart their opponent and shut their deck down from doing what it needs to do. It's just kind of the name of the game in some ways. So, but I mean, once again, congratulations to all of our players today. I think it's going to be it from us, right? So, this has been Leah, aka Windflower Leah.
This is Blep at Blep the Cat. Hope to see you again another time, sometimes next patch.
Yeah, hopefully for the Series Showdown.